Oh, okay. Got it. Is it Keshwan Prabhu? Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Sorry.
And I say record karito. Anyway, this is going to be yes, Prabhu. Hari. Yeah. I'm gonna bring up the PowerPoint. Yes. I was just thinking, we are kind of doing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We were at the temple yesterday. We had a festival. I felt like, the Panchatattva were there. That was another week. Radha Golakanandas, they were there. That's Raja and the devotees and the Kirtan. I only wish the time just stops like that. It could. Maybe after we get more purified. Because in spiritual realm, time factor is there, but it doesn't affect the flow of rasa in any way. It only augments. The time factor is there, but there is no decay with the time there. Here in the material realm, there is a factor of decay. Yeah. Oh. Excuse me. Since I have to bring up the slides again. Gauranga Karuna. That's Gaura. Yeah. Yes, please. You may repeat after me, and after that, the other 4 slokas, we can do it together. Uttamadama kichuna bachila jachiye dile kakola. Kahe premananda yemuna gauranga antaradariye bola.
Uttama adama kichuna bachila jachiye dile kakola. Kahe premananda yemuna gaurange antare dhariya bola.
Bhaja gauranga kaha gauranga leh gaurangera naam re. Jai jana gauranga bhaje seyo hamara pran re.
Bhaja gauranga kaha gauranga laha gaurangera naam re. Jai jana gauranga bhaje seyo hamara pran re.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Translation, please.
Never discriminating who was a fit candidate or an unfit candidate, elevated or degraded, the son of Mother Shachi magnanimously accepts one and all onto his lap in a loving embrace, crying, "Come to my fold, come to my fold." The poet Premananda Das begs you all to constantly chant the sweet name of Krishna while holding tightly to that son of Mother Shachi in the innermost core of your heart. Worship Lord Gauranga, chant Gauranga, speak about Lord Gauranga only. Those who worship Lord Gauranga is indeed my life and soul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Mataji, you could put it in presentation mode, Mataji. It'll cover the screen.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Presentation. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. this we can read together, and we will skip the translation here, just for keeping the time in mind. So we can do it together if you know the tune and the sloka. Yasyaiva padam bhujabhakti labhya premabhidana parama pumartha tasmai jaganmangalam mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Ananda Leela Maya Vigraha Hemabhya Divya Chavisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Anarpita Charinchirat Karunaya Vatirna Kalam Samarpaitum Unnato Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundaratyuti Kadamba Sandhipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spurata Sachinandana. Last time also this happened. That's right. Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Avichandaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. This Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's like we are getting stuck at every verse and we still have to move on, and there is a lot to do. Srimad Bhagavatam, yes, it is nectar, but Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's extension of the nectar. So a recap from what we have done last time. We talked about what the different levels of consciousness and what is Krishna consciousness. We also talked about Kirtaniya Sadahari. That's the very purpose of our doing bhakti. Yeah. And then we offered the prayer. Myself, yeah. So the purpose of reciting Chaitanya Charitamrita is for the purification on the order. There is no qualification at all. And the prayer is Sharalatahi Vaishnavata and Sharanagati. Sharanagati with Preeti and Preeti Seva. So that's the prayer. And, order and blessings are the only qualifications. And that's the only purpose of reciting this Chaitanya Charitamrita, for purification of my existence. Otherwise, there's no qualification. Also, yeah, we talked about the Pancha Tattva, the Tattva. I put it in the slide here, the summary of what we did last time. Yeah, so we talked about how Lord Krishna came as Krishna Chaitanya. And we also talked about different references from Vedic scriptures saying how Lord Gauranga is actually Lord Krishna. And we also talked about Panchatattva, the ontological position and the purpose of their advent. So that's what we covered last time. And today we will cover, we will compare and connect Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. After that, we want to do the overview of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the third one is the flow of Rasa in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'm hoping we will have time for this. Yeah, coming to this. You know, once Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, the teacher of our Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, he said that if there is a flood inundating the whole universe, and if everything is gone, there's no problem. If we have just three scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, then the whole world will be saved again. So we are good. We just need these three scriptures. And then he goes, if the flood is so big and we have to let go one scripture, then maybe we can let go Bhagavad Gita. But we want to hold on to Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And after a little while, he says, if the flood gets so big and we have to hold on to only one scripture, then what would you hold on to? That's Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we wonder why. Because Srimad Bhagavatam, when lived, is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is theory in practice. And also Chaitanya Charitamrita is not just the theory and practice in some other yuga, it's practice in Kali Yuga. And we also want to see how the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to give Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavatam is to give Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then we will realize not only the significance of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but not only how sweet it is, but how easy that this is made and how abundantly it is distributed. Srimad Bhagavatam is Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, very ripened sweet fruit, very good. But if the ripened sweet fruit, the juice is just dripping and we are trying to catch a drop here and there and drinking is good. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is Gauranga Mahaprabhu mercifully comes and he collects the whole Nigama Kalpataror Galitam, whole Krishna presenting Bhagavatam, and he gives us to that in a golden pot. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if you look at here, comparison, Bhagavad Gita gives the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the basics, the 5 eternal principles. Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Karma, Prakriti. The theory that we need, the principles are laid out and says, okay, these are the 5 eternal principles. Ishvara is there, Jiva is there. These are the 2 sentient beings, the Kala, Karma, and Prakriti. These 3 are there only to reciprocate, only to help in reciprocation between Ishvara and Jiva. If the Jiva has desire to reciprocate. If the Jiva does not have desire to reciprocate, then the Jiva is disconnected, apparently disconnected with Bhagavan. But that's the role. These 3 elements are to influence these 2 factors. That's Ishvara and Jiva. And then finally, Bhagavad Gita says, okay, now you have heard everything. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja. Lord Krishna says, now that I gave you all the theory that you need, you give up all kind of dharmas and you connect with me. You connect. You connect with me, you reciprocate with me. That's Sharanagati. Right? I am your own. I am here for you. You simply connect with me. You simply depend on me. You do it for me, I take care of you. Sharanagati. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. That's how Bhagavad Gita ends. Giving the philosophy of 5 eternal things, ending with saying Sarva Dharman Parityajya. And Srimad Bhagavatam starts with Sarvadharman Parityajya and demonstrates the lives of all those devotees who did the Sharanagati. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives the pastimes and of Lord Krishna and his devotees and the reciprocations, how the Sharanagata Bhaktas were reciprocating with Krishna. And at the very end, when we come to the 12th canto, what is Bhagavatam saying? The best way of reciprocating with Bhagavan is Harir Nama Eva Kevala. So, this is the language that's common between the Jiva and Bhagavan. That's when the doors open. That's when the reciprocation starts. So start chanting Harir Nama Eva Kevalam. Chanting the holy names is the means to destroy all sinful reaction. Not only destroying sinful reaction, but with the reciprocation with Bhagavan. That's how Srimad Bhagavatam ends. How does Chaitanya Charitamrita start? It starts with Lord Gauranga bringing in the holy names. They're not just, not holy name cannot be just holy name, but holy name giving, not just giving liberation. That holy name that is brought by Gauranga Mahaprabhu can take us to the spiritual realm of Vraja with the mellows of Vrajavasis. When the holy name is served as per the instructions given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is why it is said, Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana. Harinam was there before. And Harinam was giving liberation to people before. But when the same Harinam is taken and is chanted according to the instructions given by Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the Raga Anuga Bhakti, then the same Harinam will take us past liberation, past Vaikuntha, to Vraja, where there is spontaneous devotional service that flows all the time. So that's the Harinam that Gauranga brought from Goloka Vrindavan. And after enacting all the pastimes, after we serve the holy name, then what is the result? What is Chaitanya Charitamrita saying? Okay, you chant, you take the holy name to get what? See what happened to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He forgot himself throughout the entire day and night, being merged in an ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna. That's the prayojana. This is why we chant the holy name. To enter into the spiritual realm, leaving behind the material realm. Where material realm becomes just a faint background, which almost does not exist. But spiritual realm up in the forefront. And how does that happen? Through the process of Harinam and the Bhakti that is brought by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's all given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you look at the flow, how Bhagavad Gita is taking us to Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam is directing us to Chaitanya Charitamrita, to see how Srimad Bhagavatam is lived in Kali Yuga. How Sarvadharman Parityajya, and how not only Sarvadharman Parityajya with Kirtaniya Sadahari. A combination of these two is demonstrated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. For what? For Krishna Prema. So that's the connection. And that's the flow and direction that's given to the souls from the Gita to Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's beautifully described here. Bhagavad Gita are just words of Krishna. He's formally instructing, like a teacher instructs the students Okay, well, very well, this is the theory. And I'm finally, now that I gave you the information, you decide what to do. And by the way, Arjuna, if you kind of decide not to consider what I said, you might be in a bit of trouble. But if you consider what I say, then you will be out of danger. That's what Lord Krishna said also at the very end. And here in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's activities of Krishna, Leelas of Krishna. They are described. Of course, Rupa, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, all of them are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. But Chaitanya Charitamrita, the mind of Krishna, the heart of Krishna is revealed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's not much told in Srimad Bhagavatam about the heart of Krishna. Krishna is in only 10th chapter. And the other parts of Bhagavatam, yes, he is there, here and there, having formal reciprocations with the devotees, but very intimate reciprocations in all the rasas are happening in Vrindavan. Even in Vrindavan, there are pastimes going on, but there was not much of a description of what exactly Lord Krishna is feeling. Itna sara nahi. Because Sukadeva Goswami was reciting this to Parikshit Maharaj in the presence of different audience. There were karmis, jnanis, bhaktas, different kind of audience are there. So not much about the heart of Krishna and mind of Krishna is detailed in Srimad Bhagavatam. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is everything about mind of Krishna and heart of Krishna. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So who else would know about Bhagavan other than himself? Only he knows what is happening within himself. Radharani is Krishna's internal potency. So that's why Chaitanya Charitamrita is the mind and heart of Krishna. And this is what we are permitted to enter into, to know the mind and heart of Krishna, Lord Gauranga. He said, if the absolute truth has to come down to show how to follow the rules and regulations, that's Maryada Purushottama, Sri Ramachandra. If absolute truth has to come down to perform the pastimes, so he can attract all of us in one or other pastime, that's Leela Purushottama, Lord Krishna. And if absolute truth chooses to come down to relish the devotion he has for himself, to relish the devotion of his internal potency, Srimati Radharani, to relish those devotional ecstasies, if the Lord chooses to come down, then that's Gauranga Mahaprabhu. How much sweeter can it get when the Lord himself chooses to descend to relish his own mellows? That is Lord Gauranga. Yeah. I can pause here to take a question, one or two, and then move on to the next slide. Anything? Or just
Mataji, one question. So, I mean, the way you have explained here, right? Foundational study, graduate, and then the postgraduate study, right? Does it have to be that, like, in that sequence, or if somebody starts from Chaitanya Charitamrita and then either goes to Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam after that, will there still be benefit, or will you still be understanding?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. It is said like this: if somebody takes study on their own, then it's better to know the basic principles of, what are those principles, what is Krishna saying to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Then they'll be able to appreciation gets better when the study is methodical like this. But if somebody is teaching us who knows Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and they're tailoring the whole philosophy in a way that is relevant to the audience, so they can appreciate the importance of what is being said, then there is no methodology that is needed to follow up like this. So to hear a katha, you don't need the methodology like this. But if you have to do a systematic study, then that is different. And also the appreciation is better. See, if I did not say this, how Bhagavad Gita, only 5 factors are said, those are basics, and then Bhagavatam comes, and then this is the importance of Chaitanya Charitamrita. If I did not say that, and if I'm just saying, okay, now Chaitanya Charitamrita, let's go, okay, Gauranga, and I'm talking about the pastimes, for the new listener, they would not be able to appreciate what I say if I did not put Chaitanya Charitamrita in the context of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and give the significance of the discussion that we have. So if that part is done, we don't have to follow the sequence. Yeah. So the idea is to know the context of Chaitanya Charitamrita and the significance of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Shall we move on to the next one? I am eager to do the Chaitanya Charitamrita today, not extend to the next one. I'm eager to take you to the flow of rasa of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Shall we just move on to the next one? Maybe one more question and then we can move. If you have any, otherwise we can just go to the next slide.
We can go to the next.
Yeah, next one, good. Right, this is the overview of pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Again, remember our prayer was not to go through Chaitanya Charitamrita just for informational sake. That can be done in 10 days by few, in 1 month by few, and you get the information out of it. But it may not be of big use. Yeah. So we want to view these pastimes also in the context of the purpose of the pastimes too. So the externally, these pastimes, they can be classified in this way. Lord Chaitanya, he was manifest here for 48 years. 48 years only. Yeah. First 24 years, they were before sannyas life, household life. We'll go that in detail later. And all this information before sannyas is given in Adi Leela. And the information about the pastimes after taking up sannyas is given in Sesha Leela. This Sesha Leela is again Madhya and Antya. Okay. So in sannyas life, after Mahaprabhu had his pastimes of childhood and youth in Navadvip, after he got married and all that happened in Navadvip, after those pastimes, soon after he took sannyas, he came to Jagannath Puri. So all those pastimes, starting from taking up the sannyas until the later part of life, is called Sesha Leela. So after he took sannyas, came to Jagannath Puri and went to Dakshina Desha, South India, and Vrindavan Yatra. That was all done in 6 years of the other 24 years of life on this earth. 6 years went in traveling and preaching. The other 18 years Lord Gauranga stayed at Jagannath Puri. If you look at it, these are the most intense years in Jagannath Puri. Vrindavan, he went to Vrindavan, but that was a visit to Vrindavan and then came back. So after he came back from Vrindavan, then he stayed in Jagannath Puri. And during this time, every year, the devotees from different places, they used to come every year for Rath Yatra. Devotees from Bengal, from Vrindavan, East Bengal, Bangladesh. So from all those places, they used to come during the Rath Yatra. That's when there used to be interactions with the devotees. Yeah. All those interactions, they were described here in Antyalila. And 36 to 48 years, the final years, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he secluded himself. He was most of the times in Gambhira. Gambhira is a place in Jagannath Puri where the Supreme Lord, Krishna, descended as Gauranga and was revealing his heart and mind. Not everybody is permitted to enter Gambhira. Only few people. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who's Lalita Devi, and Raya Ramananda, who is Vishaka. They were there in Gambhira. Even Nityananda Prabhu was also not there in Gambhira. And there are reasons behind that. The rasa and the mellows have to go together. In any case, Gambhira is a place where the mind and the heart of the Lord was revealed in its fullest extent. That's present in Jagannath Puri. So, with all that transcendental ecstasy that the Lord has in his heart and mind, it was flowing through as preaching, flowing through, overflowing as association with the devotees. Yeah. So this is the external classification of the duration of the time and his of Lord Chaitanya. But if we look at the internal purpose of this pastimes, for bhakti, for us to practice bhakti, we need to have a very good foundation of understanding of philosophy. To build the temple of bhakti, we need a very strong foundation of philosophy. It cannot just be sentimental or emotional. We have to know what we are doing, why we are doing, with the scriptural light. All that is given in Adilila. The foundational knowledge, philosophy that directs and supports bhakti is all given in Adilila. Here all the references from the Vedas, Upanishads, and of course Srimad Bhagavatam is already there. Everything, all this philosophy is supported by all those scriptures. So a lot of tattva is presented here, though it is presented throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita. A bulk of it is presented in Adilila, and we will go over this quickly, so you will feel more satisfied about knowing what is there in Adilila. So this is the foundation, strong foundation on which the temple of bhakti is built. Here, as I just mentioned, the sannyasa life, here the preaching and associating with the devotees. Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra festivals. Please note, these are the activities of the devotees. After taking the process of bhakti, this is what we do. We interact with the devotees and we share the Krishna Katha. We celebrate the festivals together. And how is Gauranga Mahaprabhu doing it? He was so much filled with such intense fondness and love of Krishna. I mean, who are we talking about? Srimati Radharani. She's the personification of internal energy of Krishna, whose existence is simply to serve Krishna. So that is Krishna Prema. So Lord Gauranga, with his heart filled with Krishna Prema, was manifesting as he celebrated the festivals in Jagannath Puri, was manifesting as he interacted with the devotees, was manifesting as he did the Sankirtan in South India and preaching. You will see when we go through this Madhya Leela in detail, when we read Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami saying how people are transformed just by having a glance of Gauranga. And that's no exaggeration at all. And we will see how that happened and why it happened. But all this is because his heart and mind is overflowing with something. Yeah. So this is inside flowing to outside. And when our heart and mind is not so much overflowing with the fondness for Krishna, then what is our parasthiti? What do we do? Then we try to do these limbs in a prayerful mode to the best of our capacity, so we can be taken to this realm. Yeah. So that's the overview of pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. External classification and internal purpose, internal direction to us. Yeah.
Sorry, quick question.
Yes.
So Bira is it like outside Jagannath Puri? It's within Jagannath Puri from
Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. It's in Jagannath.
It is in Jagannath Puri.
Yes. All the pastimes of Mahaprabhu with his associates, intimate associates, they're all present in Jagannath Puri. At Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, and that's Gambhira, they're all very close by, everything in Jagannath Puri. Srila Haridas Thakur's Bhajan Kutir and the Siddha Bakula, everything in Jagannath Puri. You will feel like you are entering into Chaitanya Charitamrita there, especially this, the Madhya and Antilila pastimes.
Mataji, another question, sorry. Just curious, all the Leelas in general happened in Vrindavan, Krishna and Shri Radharani, pastimes and everything there.
Right.
So why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Jagannath Puri, in Jagannath Puri, why he settled there, why he, made his main.
Good question, Prabhu, but that's a postgraduate question. And I will just give a simple answer. That's more to do with the internal relishment of rasa. If we know more about what happened in Jagannath Puri, then we will see that it is not only what has happened in Vrindavan, but it is in a more intense form. Whatever pastimes that happened in Vrindavan, they are all pastimes of union. Whatever is happening in Jagannath Puri, they are pastimes of separation. And the intensity of the feelings are very high in separation internally. And that's what was happening in Jagannath Puri. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Mataji.
Yeah.
Sorry, this may be a very stupid question, but I just want to be very clear. So when we say Gauranga, we're still referring to Lord Chaitanya, right? It's just another name for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Or
Yes,
is it
sir.
there's some significance from the name Gauranga?
It's Lord Chaitanya. Same thing. As we discussed in the last class, he's called as Nimai because he appeared under Nimai neem tree. He took birth under neem tree because for that reason he's called Nimai. And he's called Gaura Anga because his complexion is so golden. Gaura Anga, limbs, So one who has limbs of golden complexion, Gauranga means. That's the reason. And he's also called Krishna Chaitanya because that's the sannyasi name of Lord Chaitanya. So all these names are indicating the same personality, Lord Chaitanya, Gauranga. Yeah. So with this overview, we just went through overview only, but when we go through the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, we will see all that you need to know about the power and practice of divine love. Because this is the generator here. And with that power, this is all practiced here. And what happens when that is practiced? All these animals who are supposed to kill each other, what are they doing? They forgot that they're animals. They forgot their enmity. And this is not a fiction. This really happened. That was in Jharkhand on the way to Vrindavan. We will see the details of it. And look at the servant of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He was, I don't know what he felt. I don't know. I mean, he went mad. He didn't know what was going on because this is unusual. A deer kissing and hugging a tiger, dancing together is unusual. But unusual in the material realm. But this is possible because of divine love that can flow through. And all that is present in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, quickly, just glance only, because we want to go to the final slide. That is, I think we'll have time. The flow of rasa in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This will be a quick one at a glance. Adilila is about the Tattva, Gaura Tattva, Nityananda, and Panchatattva. Especially in Nityanandaram, here we will know about the expansions, incarnations, and all the questions that we had will be cleared here. Right? About the Tattva. That's Adilila. And Adilila, that's the initial part. That's the first section of Adilila, about the Tattva. And in the second section, about the Prema Tattva. How Lord Gauranga is the tree of Krishna Prema, gardener, main trunk, and branches, everything. And he's also the enjoyer of fruit. But to make it, again, concise, the Pancha Tattva, Tattva of the five personalities, the Prema Tattva, and the early pastimes of Lord Chaitanya until before sannyas is all in Adilila. Good? So Adilila has Tattva and the pastimes of Lord Gauranga up until he takes sannyas. That's Adilila. Okay? And then Madhyalila. Again, Seshalila is divided into Madhya and Antya. Okay? Madhyalila has Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he tries to go to Vrindavan. There he gets strict and he comes to Jagannath Puri. His mother requests not to go to Vrindavan. That's the external reason. Nitai Gunamani Prabhu, why he didn't go to Vrindavan. The external reason is his mother requested that he does not stay that far but close to him. So he chose to stay in Jagannath Puri. And from there, he goes to the South Indian Yatra. That is also there in Madhyalila. here, South Indian tour. That's the third section, right? And the fourth part is after returning from South India tour, then the Rath Yatra event occurs and devotees from all the other places also come and visit. That's the fourth section. That's all about Madhya Leela. Yeah, this is the other part. This is Jagannath Rath Yatra, and then this is the rest of the Madhya Leela. Again, Gauranga Mahaprabhu attempts to go to Vrindavan. He couldn't, but finally makes a travel to Vrindavan. This is where, Jharkhand travel, the picture that we just saw, all the animals jumping together in joy. It's all in Madhya Leela here. There's a beautiful description of what happened in Jharkhand jungle. And he instructs Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. That's all in Madhya Leela. And his trip to Varanasi until he comes back to Jagannath Puri. That's all Madhya Leela. Who all he meets in Vrindavan, instructing them and going to Varanasi and then coming back to Jagannath Puri. That section is covered in Madhya Leela. This is Antya Leela. Once he comes back to Jagannath Puri after the South Indian trip and Vrindavan trip, Mahaprabhu just stays in Jagannath Puri only. And these are all the pastimes that happen there during that stay in Jagannath Puri. So all the interactions between these devotees here, especially the Haridas Thakur, reciprocations with Haridas Thakur, Raya Ramananda, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Jagadananda Pandita, all these beautiful things, they're all present in Antya Leela. The last one gets very intense. Very intense. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he almost secludes himself. Devotees had to lock him from outside the Gambhira because he was naturally just getting into his internal mood and staying there for a very longer period of time, unaware of the external things. So it gets more intense, more deep. In other words, the Lord is more absorbed in his thoughts and his heart. And at the very end, he decides to disappear from this world. And he leaves Sikshashtaka prayers before he disappears from this planet. And these are the only words of instructions that Lord Gauranga has for us. The rest of the literature in Gaudiya is all expansion and elaboration of this Sikshashtaka prayers and how to get to those Sikshashtaka prayers. Through Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. Through Sanatana Goswami, he gave us the through Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, he gave us the philosophy. And through Rupa Goswami, he gave us the philosophy of rasa. And through Raya Ramananda, more about the pastimes of the lordships. Like that, he has empowered different devotees to teach about bhakti. But he himself, Lord himself gave, what Lord himself gave is only Sikshashtaka prayers. Okay, all that is in Antya Leela. So the prayers that we recited during Gaur Purnima, during our 64 japa, 64 round japa, they are Sikshashtaka prayers. That's a brief overview of Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Antya Leela. This is the flow of rasa. Now you have an idea of what Adi Leela is, Madhya and Antya. You'll be able to relish this better. What happened in Adi Leela? Invocation prayers by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami before he can write Chaitanya Charitamrita. Incarnation, how Lord Gauranga incarnated, manifested in this world. And then education, how Lord Gauranga excelled in his studies in all 6 systems of philosophies, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa, everything. He excelled in his education. Until then, his pastimes were like very naughty and proud as somebody who excelled in Shastra. But after he meets his spiritual master, then comes the stage of transformation. And after transformation is renunciation. This is when he went to Jagannath Puri. After reaching Jagannath Puri, the propagation, preaching starts because he went to South India, right? And then aspiration. He always aspired to go to Vrindavan. He made 2 attempts. Finally, with the 3rd attempt, he made his visit to Vrindavan. And there he instructed Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and other disciples there, especially Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, to revive all the sacred places in Vrindavan, all the Leela Stalis in Vrindavan, and to write the books describing the process of bhakti and practice of bhakti. So all the instructions for the organization of bhakti, so it can be propagated, is given. After that, coming back to Jagannath Puri, appreciation. As he interacted with the devotees, he appreciated all those devotees who were able to practice bhakti nicely. In other words, offering their services nicely, interacting with the devotees, right? And not only that, if he saw somebody who is not practicing bhakti properly, he corrected. So both appreciation was there and correction was there too, to mold them properly in bhakti. Yeah. And after all those external things over, Lord Gauranga, his external business was over. He went to intoxication. He went deep within his mind and heart. He didn't care to come out of that internal consciousness. And in the very final days, just before he left the planet, he gave instructions. Sri Sishtastakam. After that, he left the planet. So this is the flow of rasa in Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Adi Leela, from invocation to transformation. Madhya Leela, from renunciation to organization. Antya Leela, from devotee interactions, appreciation, correction, to intoxication and instruction and leaving the planet. Yeah, this is, all that you need to know to enter from the material world to the blissful spiritual world is go through this Chaitanya Charitamrita with the instructions of Lord Gauranga, and he takes us to the spiritual realm. So to summarize, we have discussed after the introduction in the last class, we have discussed about we have discussed about the connection of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Bhagavad Gita is directing us to Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavatam directing us to live in the form of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then we discussed about overview of pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, the external classification and the internal purpose and direction. For us, Lord Gauranga is directing us through this. And then we discussed about Adilila, Madhyalila, and Antilila at a glance. Adilila has the tattvas and the tattva about the Panchatattva and Prema Tattva and the pastimes up until Sannyasa. Madhyalila has the information from Jagannath Puri to South India trip and then Vrindavan trip and coming back to Jagannath Puri. That's all in Madhyalila. And Antilila is all the pastimes of Lord Gauranga with the devotees as he stayed in Jagannath Puri. And finally, the intoxication and instruction. They are all in Antilila. And this is the flow of the nectar. With invocation, incarnation, education, transformation, renunciation, propagation, aspiration, organization, appreciation, correction, intoxication, instruction. I'm going to pause here, but I want to thank Sutapa Prabhu. These slides are from Sutapa Prabhu's Chaitanya Charitamrita compact. Wonderful, wonderful devotee. So I want to thank him for the slides that we took from his book. And I also want to thank the devotees who helped, trying to, the Zoom thing. Yeah, I also want to thank the devotees who helped me in so many ways, in so many technical ways, with the booklet and with the slides too. So thank you to you all. You're teaching me so much, all the technical stuff. Thank you to all of you. Yeah, so I'm going to pause here to get some reflections from you of what you liked. Yeah, let's do some Paraspara, please. Yes, we have time. Trying to change the setting here, but you please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hari Hari Prabhu.
Mataji, you mentioned about Nimai and Gauranga, right?
Yeah,
Then-
Nima and Gauranga are the same.
Yeah, are the same. But who is Nitai?
Nitai is Nityananda Prabhu.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hari Hari Mataji.
So what I heard you saying is that Mataji, at the end of the Antilila, there is Sikshastakam. So is it Sikshastakam at the end, or it is just written there? Those shlokas have been taken at different times. Lord Chaitanya has spoken them. Is correct?
From what I heard, they are not at different times. The whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is about Gauranga empowering the devotees so they can speak. He didn't speak much. He made people speak. He made Haridas Thakur speak about Harinam. He made Raya Ramananda speak about pastimes in Vrindavan. He made Rupa Goswami speak about Bhakti Rasa. Sanatana Goswami about the philosophy. So he made devotees speak, but he didn't speak much. And he gave them instruction of what service they need to do. That's all.
So these verses of Sishtastakam, all the 8 verses, they were spoken together by Mahaprabhu at the end of his
Before,
life?
yes, yeah. That's my understanding from what I hear. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji.
Thank you.
Mataji, it was interesting that, like Lord Chaitanya is making attempts to go to Vrindavan. He's himself, the Lord. I mean, he doesn't really need to make attempts and show that he's, in a way, not able to go.
Yeah, it's because we have to remember one thing. Lord
But
Gauranga,
I think I was thinking that maybe he's in the devotional. I mean, he's in a form of a devotee, or in that way. That's why,
Right. Yeah. Yes. He's Krishna himself, but the purpose of the advent is to show how a devotee should be. So everything, all the pastimes should be seen from a perspective of what is taught to the devotees, like that. So that's why he was playing the role of the devotee. Yeah. Like, Lord Ram, can he not just bring Mother Sita? Doesn't he really know where Mother Sita is? Does he have to really beg the squirrel and the monkeys, etc.? They're not ordinary monkeys, of course. But the purpose of the advent is something else. So when they advent, everything is geared to the purpose. So here, when Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when he came as Lord Gauranga, the purpose is to instruct the devotees on what to do, how to do, so they can get Krishna Prema.
Mataji, can you show the last slide one more time?
Sure.
The flow, the
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. I'm having some technical things on this side, so that's why I'm trying to adjust. Okay, it's here, and I have to see.
You just like arrow down.
Oh, now I know. I got it, Prabhu. I didn't stop sharing the screen. That's why I was struggling to see all of you on the screen. I couldn't see. Now I could see. Okay, now I can share the slide. Yes. So the last one you said, right? Which one? The
last,
overview?
that 24. Yeah, 44.
This one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mataji, can you just one more time, the one-liner, what is number 7 and 8? Aspiration and organization.
Yeah, aspiration, organization. Organization is instructions to organize bhakti. Asking Rupa Goswami to write about Bhakti Rasamrita Singh, Sanatana Goswami about philosophy, like that. So to organize the process of bhakti in a way it can be propagated efficiently.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was 7, Mataji? The aspiration.
7, aspiration is, he had an aspiration to go to Vrindavan.
Oh, okay.
And it was finally, it came, he could do that at that time, the 3rd attempt. Yeah. Okay. So his trip to Vrindavan was aspiration fulfilled.
Okay. Okay.
Isn't that something, Prabhu? Lord Gauranga, Krishna going to, finally Krishna could go to Vrindavan. Yeah.
Mataji, one more question. So
yeah.
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes Chaitanya Charitamrita. And before that, I think Vrindavan Das writes the Chaitanya
Mangala.
That is
Chaitanya Bhagavata, Chaitanya Mangala, they were there, yeah.
But they were mostly of the Adi Leela.
Yeah,
Adi
yes,
Leela.
the pastimes of that.
So all these these pastimes, and especially the end pastimes, they were revealed to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Makes me wonder how was he able to write all these in so much detail?
Right. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is a disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami had his pastimes with Lord Chaitanya. So he knew everything that has happened. Yeah.
Even the
so all
pastimes,
Raghunath Das Goswami was there, and Raghunath Das Goswami, he was the disciple of Swarup Damodar Goswami, who was in Gambhira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's how it is. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, and Srila Narottam Das Thakur, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, so Swarup Damodar Goswami was there with Gauranga, and his disciple was Raghunath Das Goswami, and his disciple Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami.
So he heard in the disciplic parampara and definitely empowered to write.
Yeah, yeah. And again, he also lived with the associates, few associates of Gauranga, and who interacted with associates of Gauranga too. So it was all put together.
Mhm.
Yeah. And yes, the information through parampara.
Yeah, I was especially interested in the
The
Gambhira
Gambhira.
part,
Yeah.
but you answered.
Swarup Damodar's, yes, Goswami, he's right there in Gambhira. They were the only 3 people allowed, 2 people with Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That's Rai Ramananda and Swarup Damodar.
Who is the Swarup Damodar Goswami in Krishna?
Lalita. She's Lalita Sakhi in Krishna Lila. And Rai Ramananda is Vishaka Shakhi.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you. So you all know Chaitanya Charitamrita very well now. At least we have a feeling that we know Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ki Adi Leela, what is there in Adi Leela, what's there in Madhya Leela and Antya Leela, and how Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is bringing us to Chaitanya Charitamrita. To me personally, it feels like my festival has started with the first one, with the first Katha Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's because, see, as we realize the significance, if you please step back and see, Bhagavad Gita gave us the philosophy. Srimad Bhagavatam, we are trying to hear from the devotees in the Srimad Bhagavatam, all the interactions that the Lord had with devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's very nice. Nice for absorption. The Rupa is described there. Leelas of the Lord are described there in Srimad Bhagavatam. And gunas, the qualities, the Kalyana gunas of the Lord are described there. Very wonderful. Absorption. For the absorption and meditation, wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam. But when it comes to the application and practice of bhakti, Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a powerhouse. It is so potent that it will make us live Bhagavatam. If we have only Bhagavatam, it's like, yes, we are drinking drops of nectar, and that's wonderful. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is like floodgates open and you drink more. So there is a lot of nourishment. So we can practically live what Bhagavatam is instructing. If we understand that aspect of Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's beautiful, very beautiful. We will appreciate Vaishnava Sangha so much. We will appreciate whatever we are doing in bhakti so much. We will know the right mood of celebrating a festival. So we look forward for a festival. And when the festival is going on, we don't get lost with the externals of the festival. But whatever mood is instructed, we hang on to it, and there's a lot of relishment there. And when there is devotee interactions, what is the etiquette? And how should devotees interact? So the practice of bhakti is relished mode. Yeah. And when the pastimes are visited, what should be the mode before visiting a dham, during visiting a dham? All these are like spoon-fed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's like, you have a manual and you do it yourself is different from an expert coming to you. And then he's just fixing it for you and you just look at it and learn it. You don't have to read the manual and you do it yourself. Lord Gauranga is so super merciful that he made the process of bhakti so easy and is teaching us how to practice it in a way we can relish. And in a way, we are taken to the different stages of bhakti in a swift way. If we know the right procedure, and if somebody is holding our hand and is walking us through, and he knows what the stages of bhakti is, how assuring it is, and how rapid it can be, and how relishing it can be. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah, I'm going to pause. I wanted to hear from you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hari Prabhu.
Mataji, Nitai came before Gauranga and stayed after a few years of Gauranga.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Prabhu.
So he was like
Older.
throughout. Okay, throughout the 48 years, Nitai was with Gauranga.
Even not the 48 years, but somewhere after the boyhood pastimes like that, Prabhu. Pauganda Leela. That's when he was searching for Gauranga, and Nitai comes and meets Gauranga externally around, in Pauganda age, in youth, not exactly in childhood. Yeah. Is that the question, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. I just wanted to know that.
Right. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hari.
The rest of the Shesh Leela, the sannyas happens right there. So I know we may cover in detail, but was there a trigger to take sannyas, or it was just a logical, like it was?
Oh, yeah. The reason is, Prabhu, when he was in his internal mood, and general people were not understanding it and respecting the mood because he was a grihastha, there was not much respect to his teachings and mood. So at that time, he's Nimai. So at that time, to bring the proper respect to his teachings, proper attention and respect to his teachings, he had to take up sannyas, because at that time, a sannyasi is given a lot of respect, and their teachings are also valued more. So that was the external reason. Yeah, Brijesh Prabhu, was that the question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes. 2 more minutes, and then we can close. Anybody else? Anything else? Ravindra Prabhu, Hare Krishna, welcome. Rama Mataji, yes, already addressed. Hare Krishna, welcome. Prabhu Mataji. Praveen Prabhu, Josna Mataji, Hare Krishna. Huh? Yes, Prabhu?
The name of Jagain, is it in Adi Leela or in the middle, in the Madhya Leela?
Which one, Prabhu?
Jagai Madai.
Oh, Jagai. Jagai, Madai, Navadvip, Adilila. Madhya is by Madhya. He comes to Jagannath Puri. Haridas Thakur was there in that Leela. So it's not Adilila, Prabhu. It has to be, it must be either Madhya or Antya, because Haridas Thakur was also there in that Leela. Most likely Madhya. Madhya is more about the Rath Yatra pastimes. Yeah, one of those, Prabhu. But definitely Madhya or Antya, not in Adilila. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Ravindra Prabhu? I see. Hari Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay. If no questions, all right. So we'll pause here. And maybe next week we'll do something different. Yeah. So thank you all so very much. Antakoti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai. Patita Pavana Gaura Hari ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Krishna.